Returning home after a 3-day business trip, he steps towards the lounge of his crazy large mansion. He sees his dad, but not the one person who always greets him after returning home, YN. He looks around hoping to find her, but he does not. So for now, he goes to his dad and greets him. The dinner is served, but his wife can't be seen, so he constantly catches sight of his bedroom to see if she is coming, but she does not. The little worry struck his heart, so he finishes his dinner fast without even filling his stomach and goes straight away to the room. The sight he sees was unbelievable for him, as he never got to see that before, not even at their marriage night, when it was forced by both of their dads, who are business partners. He sees the tears flowing down her eyes to her neck as she wipes them while trying to stop her sobs. Jungkook spoke. My heart felt a burning sensation that I've never felt before. Maybe because she never cried before. And if she is doing now, it must be serious. But why do I care when I never cared about whatever she did? I shrugged off my thoughts and went to ask her. I don't know why, but I just did. Vine spoke. I hear some steps coming inside the room, and when I raised my face to look at the person, it was my husband. Oh, was it already the time for him to come home? I immediately wiped my tears and stood up from the couch I was sitting on. I looked at him and our eyes met. Is this confusion that I see in his eyes? Did he really see me crying? I sighed when I asked myself, why? I was lost in his eyes that his steps started coming towards me. Why? What now? Is he going to ask me about what happened? Please don't. I don't want to remember that again. And he did the one thing I was asking so hard for him to not do. He holds both of my shoulders with his hands and asks me, are you okay? What happened? About that sentence. It was about that sentence for my subconscious to forget the reason I was crying for and completely got lost in his eyes. He held my hand and made me sit on the couch again while he sat beside me. I was worried about you, for you didn't come down, so I directly came to the room. But you are. What happened? You can tell me, he says, looking straight into my eyes, and his gaze was something that I never got to see before. Wait, did he say he was worried about me? I don't get it. Author spoke. Apparently, this was the first time he asked her about this, so she never knew that he also worried about her. Her eyes widened looking at him, who still hadn't changed his suit, which is the first thing that he does after returning to his room. She herself doesn't know what came inside her that she wanted to tell him now about what happened, when earlier she didn't even want to remember about what happened. I was harassed badly. I went to university as usual, but a guy was sitting with me and he suddenly proposed me. I told him that I was married and I can't accept him. So he called his gang and started harassing me. They called me slut and names. They made me drink toilet water and they tried to rip my clothes. But the teacher came in time. He didn't even punish them no matter what I said, as that guy was the son of university's principal. She said while sobbing and held his hand when she explained the part of her clothes. Jungkook, who never cared about his wife whatsoever, felt his heart melting when he heard all of this. He felt the burn in his heart when she held his hand, because she couldn't even speak about what happened to her. Is this why I sent her to the university? For some guys to mess with her? He wondered. How dared they mess with my property? Jungkook didn't know if it was affection or possessiveness that he felt, but whatever it was intense and severe to the point that he wanted to kill those guys. He doesn't change the expressions on his face for her to not worry. Rather, he puts on a smile and hugs her, pulling her head to touch his chest, while he gently pats her hairs. Don't worry, I'm with you. I'll make sure that they never mess with you again, he said in a low, calming voice. The amount of butterflies that she felt dancing in her stomach were more than you could ever imagine. Her face became red from the shyness, as it was the first time. She truly felt his warmth, and that too when she needed it the most. She still had tears in her eyes, so she hugs him back tightly. Giving him all her affection and warmth. But he could only feel the pain that she felt earlier. Or maybe he felt it more than her. He breaks the hug and gives her a wide smile again while wiping her tears. Can you give me some time? I'll be right back. In the meantime, could you lie down and do something to calm yourself down? He said, looking right into her eyes. Wine held his hand as he was about to leave and said, "But I need you to calm myself down. Don't leave me." He again smiles, looking at her, hiding away all of his anger behind that wide smile, and leans down to kiss her forehead, and then looks in her eyes only to tell her, "Don't worry, I'll come back right away." He smiles and goes out of his room, and Vine was frozen in her place, who couldn't even ask him to stop anymore, as she was too stunned to speak. "Did he just kiss me?" she said when she started hiccuping. When she realized this wasn't a dream, she bit her lips so hard and blushed like a mad woman. He really calmed her down, didn't he? He marched towards his car with the clenched fist that he only loosened when he was about to drive. The speed of the car was as faster as his heart rate was, from the anxiety, because he wanted to meet those guys badly. He knew the principal of the university as he invested in that university too much. And he saw his son once during a meeting. He knew the principal's number, so he got the location of his house after one order to his men. He was driving there, and as he was passing through a deserted road, he saw some people bullying one kid and beating him to death. His attention went towards them, and he pulled the brakes of his car as soon as he saw Principal's son in between the guys who were bullying. He lets out a scoff, looking at them through the window as they were again busy in bullying. He steps out of his car as he marched towards them. The guy who was getting bullied said while rubbing his hands, "Sohyun, please stop. No matter how, I'll pay you tomorrow all of the money that you asked me. Please spare me, just this once." Sohyun smirked as he said, "I told you to pay me today. Do you have a hearing problem?" He was about to punch him again, that his hand was stopped, and he screamed, "Who the hell?" He looked right and saw Jungkook standing with his dangerous gaze, building a hole in Sohyun's eyes. "Leave my hand. Who are you?" Sohyun says as he struggles to get rid of Jungkook's grip. Jungkook looked at the guy who was getting bullied and asked him, "Run away when you have the time, because you won't be able to see what's going to happen here." The poor guy ran with his life after thanking Jungkook, while Sohyun burned in anger when he asked, "What are you doing? Don't you see around you? Just go from here or you'll be beaten to death." Before he could complete his sentence, he was already lying on the ground after getting punched several times. "What the hell are you all waiting for? Just kill him," Sohyun said to his gang while he groaned in pain. "Just see, you won't be able to live today." Jungkook leans down to look in his eyes with his dangerous gaze. "This is just the beginning, and you're already lying on the floor. Just wait, and I'll tell you what happens when you mess with John Jungkook's wife." After 2 minutes, Jungkook was done with his small little gang, literally putting them all to ground, begging for their lives. And it was time for Sohyun now. He goes towards him while he takes steps back. "Okay, I get it. Let's talk it out, okay? What do you want?" Sohyun says while shivering in fear. Jungkook coughs while coming towards him as he says, "Why are you talking about talking now? Didn't you tell me to just wait and see you beat me to death? Why did you mess with YN?" He asked in his lower voice, trying his best to not burst out from anger, because he didn't want Sohyun to just die yet. "YN? Who?" Sohyun asked when his voice staggered. Jungkook coughs and snatches his hair as hard as he could. "You don't even remember her? You messed with her when you didn't even know her name. I tell you now, Kim Sohyun, you will forever remember YN's name from now on." He goes to his car and takes out the bottle of acid. Jungkook held his mouth, forcing him to open it, and he poured all of the acid in his mouth. Acid that was harmful enough to make you hell sick for a few days, but not enough to kill you. "Vine, that's her name, so remember it carefully. And don't mess with her ever again, because if you do so, you will actually die then," he whispers in Sohyun's ear with a serious tone. Jungkook takes a breath and covers his steps towards his car, leaving Sohyun groaning in pain while he cursed Jungkook behind his back. That was all he did for the next few days, as the pain that the acid left was almost unbearable for him. Jungkook sits in his car and starts driving back home. He enters his bedroom, where he saw Vine sleeping on the same couch that he left her on. She didn't move an inch. Jungkook had a smile as he shook his head looking at her. Not wanting to wake her up from the tiring sleep, he puts on a blanket on her, but she woke up from his slight movement. "Oh, you woke up? I just wanted to put on the blanket," he said while moving a little away from her. She smiled, putting the blanket away, and went to the bed. "I'll sleep here." "As you wish," Jungkook said while nodding. Then he sat beside her, putting off his shoes, and looks in her eyes. "Don't worry about Sohyun now. He won't be able to mess with you ever again. If you want, you can take a few days off, then go to university." "That won't be needed. Anyway, thank you," she says while shying from her own husband. "Jungkook, why are you getting shy so much? I'll do whenever it's needed. No need for thank you. And you too have to tell me when something happens. Don't just cry in the room alone. You don't know how I felt." She couldn't stop her face from getting red anymore, so she tried to hide it from Jungkook by looking away. "Jungkook, I told you not to do this. What's so hard about that?" "Fine, it is hard. Then don't regret this," he said while taking off his coat and pecked her lips. She was amazed and stopped for some seconds before kissing him back. "I guess I shouldn't have woken you up. Now I won't be able to stop," he said, licking his lips. "What happened today? You are in such good mood," she asked, as she was amazed by his behavior. "You think I'm in good mood? Maybe I am. I helped and protected my wife today. The feeling is just too good. I can't explain it in words. Maybe because I've never felt it before," he said while tucking her hairs back to her ears. "You just keep giving me butterflies today, thanks to the incident," she said while hiding her face from the shyness. His little smile disappeared when he remembered the incident, and thought if he feels like that, what must it be for her? He hugs her, and using his low melody voice, he says, "I'll protect you forever like this. I promise. You won't have to feel like that again." She hugs him back, holding his shirt, and says, "Thank you. I feel the safest today."